The early traditions of the peoples of Mexico, written down in pre-Columbian days, relate that Venus smoked. The star that smoked was called Citla Chaloja, which the Spaniards called Venus. What optical illusion could give Venus the appearance of a star throwing out smoke? Sahagún, the 16th century Spanish authority on Mexico, wrote that the Mexicans called a comet a star that smoked. It may thus be concluded that since the Mexicans called Venus a star that smoked, they considered it a comet. It is also said in the Vedas of India that Venus looks like fire with smoke. Apparently, the star had a tail, dark in the daytime and luminous at night. In very concrete form, this luminous tail, which Venus had in earlier centuries, is mentioned in the Talmud. Fire is hanging down from the planet Venus, it says. This phenomenon was also described by the Chaldeans. The planet Venus was said to have a beard. These parallels in observation made in the valley of the Ganges, on the shores of the Euphrates, and on the coast of the Mexican Gulf, all prove their objectivity. The question must then be put, what was the phenomenon and what was its cause? A train large enough to be visible from the earth and giving the impression of smoke and fire hung from the planet Venus. Venus, with its glowing train, was a brilliant body. It is therefore not strange that the Chaldeans described it as a bright torch of heaven, also as a diamond that illuminates like the sun. Today, the light of Venus is less than 1/1,000,000th of the light of the sun. But the Hebrews, in the Midrash Rabbah, they wrote, "The brilliant light of Venus blazes from one end of the cosmos to the other end." The Chinese astronomical text from the Su Chao astronomical chart refers to the past when Venus was visible in full daylight, and while moving across the sky it rivaled the sun in brightness. The Egyptians under Seti described Venus as a circling star which scatters its flames in fire, a flame of fire in her tempest. The Arabs called Venus by the name Zebaj, or the one with hair, as did the Babylonians. Hair is a characteristic of comets, and, in fact, the word comet is derived from the Greek word for hair, coma. The Peruvian name Chaska, wavy-haired, is still the name for Venus, though at present it is definitely a planet that has no tail or hair. The coma of Venus changed its form with the position of the planet. When the planet Venus approaches the Earth now, it is only partly illuminated, a portion of the disk being in shadow. It has phases like the moon. At this time, being closer to the Earth, it was most brilliant. When Venus had a coma, the horns of its crescent must have been extended by the illuminated portions of the coma. It thus had two long appendages and looked like a bull's head. The Phoenicians wrote that Venus had a bull's head. The planet was even called Astarte of the Horns. Quetzalcoatl is the well-known Mesoamerican name of the planet Venus. Ancient Mexican records give the order of the occurrences of the planet. The sun was attacked by Quetzalcoatl, a serpent-shaped heavenly body. After the disappearance of this heavenly body, the sun refused to shine, and for 4 days the world was deprived of its light. A great many people died at that time. Thereafter, the snake-like body transformed itself into a great star. This great and brilliant star appeared for the first time in the eastern sky. Thus, in the records, we read that the sun refused to show itself, and during 4 days the world was deprived of light. Then a great star appeared. It was given the name Quetzalcoatl. To show its anger, a great number of people died of famine and pestilence. The sequence of seasons and the duration of days and nights became disarranged. It was then that the people regulated anew the reckoning of days, nights, and hours according to the difference in time. In Italy, from the book of Marcus Varro, entitled Of the Race of the Roman People, from the 1st century BC, he says there occurred a remarkable celestial portent. Castor records that in the brilliant star Venus, there occurred so strange a prodigy that it changed its color, size, form, and course, which never happened before nor since. Both Adrastus and Dion, famous mathematicians, said that this event occurred during the reign of Ogyges. The fathers of the church considered Ogyges a contemporary of Moses. So the upheaval that took place in the days of Joshua and the deluge that occurred in the days of Ogyges, and the metamorphosis of Venus, which appeared in the sky of Mexico after a protracted night and a great catastrophe, all these occurrences are related. Augustine went on to make a curious comment on the transformation of Venus, saying, "Certainly that phenomenon disturbed the canons of the astronomers, so as to take upon them to affirm that this, which happened to our morning star Venus, never happened before nor since." Are Hebrew sources silent on the birth of a new star in the days of Joshua? They are not. It is written in a Samaritan chronicle that during the invasion of Palestine by the Israelites under Joshua, a new star was born in the east. It says, "A star arose out of the east, against which all magic is in vain." The birth of the morning star Venus was also a widespread motif in the folklore of the Tahitian tradition. The legend says that with the birth of a new star, the earth was battered by countless fragments. Also, the Buryats, the Kyrgyz, and the Yakuts of Siberia, and the Eskimos of North America all tell of the birth of the planet Venus. Also, as late as the 7th century, Ashurnapal speaks of Ishtar, Venus, who is clothed with fire and bears aloft a crown of awful splendor, and who rained fire over Arabia. In the Babylonian psalm it says, "By causing the heavens to tremble and the earth to quake, by the gleam which lightens in the sky, by the blazing fire which rains upon the hostile land, I am Ishtar. Ishtar, the queen of heaven, am I by the light that arises in heaven. I am Ishtar, on a high journey. The heavens I cause to quake, the earth I cause to shake. That is my fame." The attributes and deeds of the morning star were not invented by the peoples of the world. This star shattered mountains, shook the globe with such a violence that it looked as if the heavens were shaking. It was a storm, a cloud, a fire, a heavenly dragon, a torch, and a blazing star. A blazing star that disrupted the visible movement of the sun and caused a world conflagration. And then it became the morning and evening star. This may be found not only in the legends and the traditions, but also in the astronomical books of the ancient peoples of both hemispheres.